Good morning, Shangam second grade readers. Happy Friday! Today is Friday, May 29th, and we are going to continue reading some fables, but today what we're going to do is we're going to focus on retelling the story. And I want you to think of retelling in terms of beginning, middle, and end. And then what I want you to do is I also want you to think about what the moral or the lesson is in this story. So today I'm actually going to read you a combination of 4 fables in one. And so I want you to pay close attention to each little lesson that happens in the story. And then at the end of it, what I want you to do is I want you to come up with an overall moral or an overall lesson for the entire book. All 4 of them, I think you can come up with your own moral to the story, okay? So I'm going to show you what you are going to be filling out today. So today you are going to fill out the beginning, the middle, and the end of the story that I'm about to read to you. And then you're going to write the moral or the lesson of that story. And again, you're going to put that into your own words. What do you think is the moral of the story? And remember, it's 4 in 1. So this is called Fox Tales, 4 Fables from Aesop. And it's adapted by Amy Lowry. The fox was cranky. He had slept through breakfast, and his stomach growled. He padded over to the refrigerator. It was empty. Drat, he muttered. The fox remembered seeing some grapes near the end of the lane. He thought, those grapes would be perfect for my lunch. He hurried down the path, and sure enough, he spotted a bunch of large green grapes. They were hanging from a vine which trailed over a high branch. He took a step back and with great effort ran toward the tree and leaped up in the air, just missing the grapes. Turning around, he tried again and again and again until he landed hard on the ground. Well, he said, dusting himself off, I thought those grapes were ripe, but I can see now they are quite sour. He stuck his nose in the air and resumed his walk. So here's the end of one story. This is the fox and the grapes. So think about, what is the moral right here? What's happening? What was the lesson learned? Were those grapes really sour? Probably not. He's just disappointed that he couldn't get to them, right? Presently, he came to a crow sitting in a tree with a large piece of Swiss cheese in her mouth. The fox gazed at the crow. Well, well, he said, this must be my lucky day. Has anyone ever told you how beautiful you are? The crow gazed back. Black is a good color on you, and your feathers really sparkle in the sunlight. The crow was very flattered and stretched out her wings so that the fox could get a better view. You know, said the fox, I've heard it said that out of all the birds, you have the most amazing voice. Is that true? The crow could barely contain herself. She lifted her head and began to caw, but the moment she opened her mouth, the cheese fell to the ground and was quickly gobbled up by the fox. In exchange for your cheese, madam, he said, I will give you a piece of advice. Never trust a flatterer. With that, he resumed his walk down the lane. So there's that moral, that lesson right there to you. The fox was so busy congratulating himself that he failed to see the empty well that lay just ahead. Before he knew it, he plunged headlong into a small, stinky, dark hole. Drat! He muttered. He tried to climb up the side of the well, but it was slippery and coated with moss. Presently he heard the jingle-jangle of a bell, and soon enough he saw a goat peering down at him. The goat was thirsty and asked the fox if the water was good. "Good," said the fox. "Why, it's the best water I have ever tasted." The goat, who could think of nothing but quenching his thirst, jumped in at once. When he had had enough to drink, he looked about, like the fox, for some other way of getting out, but could find none. The fox turned to the goat. "I have an idea," he said. "You stand up on your hind legs and plant your forelegs against the side of the well. I'll climb on your back. Once I'm out, I can help you out too." The goat quickly agreed, and the fox climbed onto his back and hoisted himself out of the well. Pleased with himself, he began to walk away. "Wait!" cried the goat. "You promised to help me." The fox stopped and replied, "Look before you leap next time." And without looking back, the fox headed home for his afternoon nap. The goat was in the well for several hours before a kind farmer helped him out. He trotted down the lane where he ran into the crow. They shared their misadventures with Mr. Fox, and together decided to seek revenge. "But how?" the crow sighed. "I know how," said a voice behind the hedge. The crow and the goat looked around and saw a large white stork standing by the road. She proceeded to tell them of a dinner she'd recently eaten at the fox's house. "I was hungry," she said, "and the food smelled delicious. He had made lentil soup, one of my favorites. I sat down and was looking forward to a good meal, but that trickster fox served the soup in a saucer. I could barely get a drop on the end of my bill. I was helpless, while he lapped up the entire bowlful." The stork paused. "I've invited the fox to dinner tonight," she continued. "Come and see how it goes." The goat and the crow followed the stork back to her home, where they hid in the pantry and waited for the fox to arrive. Soon after there was a knock at the door. "Come in," said the stork. "I've made some delicious fish stew." The fox was quite hungry after his busy day and sat down at the table. The stork carefully ladled the stew into 2 tall jars with very narrow necks. She brought them to the table, sat down, and proceeded to dip her long beak into the jar. The fox tried to insert his snout, but the rim was too narrow. All he could manage to do was lick the outside of the jar. It was a very silly sight. The goat and the crow were soon rolling on the floor with laughter. When the fox realized he had been tricked, he flew into a rage and stalked out of the house. "Drat!" he muttered, and headed home to bed hungry. The stork shook her head. "Serves him right," she said, and went into the kitchen. She returned with 2 deep bowls. "Please," she said, "stay and join me for supper." The 3 sat down and shared the stew, which was indeed delicious. So there were 4 stories wrapped into one, and what you have to do now is tell what happened in the beginning, the middle, and the end. So even though it was 4 fables combined into one whole story, there still was a beginning, a middle, and an end to this. And then I want you to come up with, what was the overall moral? What was the lesson? What lesson do you think the fox learned in this story? If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to your teachers, and we are more than happy to help you. Have a fantastic Friday. And even Otto agrees. I know he was barking throughout the story. Sorry. But we hope you have a fantastic Friday and that you enjoy your weekend, and we will see you on Monday. Bye. Say bye, Otto.